All right. Welcome back, everybody. Great on time, fantastic. It's one of my biggest passions is being on time for sessions. So fantastic. Um, we're going to kick off just I'll give you a few seconds to think about your story. Stephen's already got excited and given us his story, so some of you missed out on it. But what I'm going to ask you to do is just tell me a 60-second story that you could provide to give value in a training environment. And I thought what I'd do is give you an example while you're thinking of a story to help you out. So here I go. Many years ago, I took on a role with the Bank of Queensland training their managers, and I was on my way to work one morning. I'd only been with the company a matter of weeks, and I got a phone call from my boss at 7 o'clock in the morning to say, the guys that were supposed to do the induction for all our new starters this week, one's interstate and the other one has just rung in sick, and I can't get hold of the third one. Do you reckon you could run today until we get it all sorted out? And I went, yeah, I haven't done induction, but I'm happy to run it. I'll have a go at anything. So by the time I got to the office, he had all the resources on my desk and everything else ready for me. Went in, did the first part of the induction, and that was great. That was easy. It was all, all about the company and uniforms and culture and all that sort of stuff. I'd been through that stuff. Then after morning tea, I had to do a session on product knowledge, knowing all the different types of accounts that the company had for domestic, I suppose, customers, your average customer, which I had very little knowledge of. I had an FPOS card and I had a credit card and I didn't know much more. And I sort of stopped and thought about it and thought, how am I going to do this? How am I going to tell these guys all the standards and benchmarks and everything else when I don't know myself? So what I did was I distributed all the documents for it, that normally come with your new account. I can't think of the name of them. Isn't that terrible? And I set them up with the project. So I split them into pairs and gave them one product each, and gave them an hour and a half to research that product until lunchtime. And after lunch, we would come back and they would do a presentation to the rest of the group on their product, which I did. At the end of it, when I looked back at it, I thought, gee, I've learned a lot from this. And, rest of the day went okay. I was able to do all the rest of it. About a week later, I was interstate and I got a phone call from my boss and he said, what did you do with that induction last week? And I told him, thinking, I've only been here 3 weeks. There goes my probation. I'm out the door. And he said, I have had so many phone calls from the branch managers asking why this was different, because all the people who have come back in the store, into the branches, knew what they were supposed to do at a much higher level than anybody we'd had before. And starting next week, I want you to sit down with the guys that do induction and help them rewrite that particular part of the unit. So thinking on your feet is a great way to get over some of those hurdles. All right, that's my story. Who'd like to tell me their story? Oh, good on you, Jace. Thank you. You looked at the camera at the wrong time, didn't you?
The only thing that pops to mind is more like just when you're doing mentoring and you're taking a new person under your wing. And when I was in the police, I used to get probation constables straight out of the academy, and as soon as we get in the car, we'd be driving around. And this is probably a lot more blunter, but one of the things I'd say is, because everyone graduates, they're nervous, they think they have to know everything, they think everyone's judging by what they know. And I used to just say, look, I don't give a shit how much you do and don't know. I don't care if you're the dumbest, a few swear words, dumbest whatever, to graduate this year. Just have a good attitude. I'll look after you. And if you stuff up, it's not your fault, it's my fault. And I I used to always just like putting their mind at ease, because everyone does it. You know, as soon as you're a trainee into the working environment, you think everyone's looking at you and judging you and thinking, he's shit or she's shit. They don't know what they're talking about. But I used to just always like to put their mind at ease, and that's one way I look at it. Is you don't, if you're a trainee, probation or whatever, if you stuff up, well, you're only as good as the people that teach you, and it's their stuff up. You know, it's the trainer's stuff up, not their stuff up. But that's just the way I look at it, and that's just the way I used to try and get people to relax. So yeah, it's probably a little bit blunt, but yeah.
All right. Oh, look, it does raise a good point, Jace. That the issue is that as a trainer, what's your biggest fear?
Well, I suppose as a trainer, my biggest fear is probably having someone that doesn't want to listen to a word I have to say and they know it all.
Yeah.
That's probably the biggest fear. Yeah.
Because one of the greatest fears that we have as a society is speaking in public. And one of the bits of advice I give every trainer that I ever come across is the fact that most of your students don't know whether you're doing the right or the wrong thing, and you've told them everything or you've left something out.
Yeah.
So stop apologizing first up. Yeah. And if you figure out that you've left something out, bring it in later.
Yeah.
You know, if something goes wrong, don't tell them about it. Just fix it and move on, because they'll always think it's part of what's supposed to be there. So building on their confidence rather than, you know, you've given them the skills, you've given them the knowledge, the confidence is a lot of the time the difference between them being successful and failing.
Yeah.
So thank you. All right. Who's next? Thanks, Sarah.
I suppose one that something that I try to do when I'm training, so one of the modules that I deliver to abattoir workers is handling of sheep for best eating quality. So we are focused on the eating quality of the product with who I work for, and so a lot of that is around what are the signs of stress in sheep, what that does to eating quality, if they're stressed leading up to kill, anything like that. And one thing that I try and do is I come from a sheep and cattle property, so I've grown up on the farm. So a lot of the time people think that you just, it can come across that you're an academic and just coming out with all of this information and you've never been involved. So I always find that when we're talking about stressed sheep do the same thing that those fainting goats do, like they'll just stop and drop. If you're trying to move them and they're stressed. So that's one thing I usually relate it back to if we're moving sheep on the farm. Like I've seen things happen that I'm talking to the people about. So relating it back that, bringing it back that I actually have come from something that's relevant to what we're talking about. And I find that once you do that, or I relate to anything like that, people tend to warm up a little bit more and actually want to listen because it's coming from,
somebody who has the experience. Yeah. And the major word there is the credibility.
Yeah.
And part of what I always say to people is when you're doing your initial induction, it's the one time when you don't need to be humble. Build your credibility and let them know. So good one. Thanks, Sarah. Okay. Who's next?
I got one.
Thanks, Lauren.
That's all right. I have a really great one that I share with some of my newer makeup artists just about the importance of organization. And I tell a story. I was working for a client and we were working on male talent, so a guy, and he was coming and I had to make him look like the Pope. He was going to be in an ad. And we are obviously expected to have makeup because that's our job. But the talent arrived and he had a huge beard. He had a job, he had another job that he'd had to have a beard for. And the creative director turned to me and said, "Oh, you've got razors, don't you?" And I didn't. And we put the whole shoot back by several hours because we had to send someone to the shops to go and get a razor, and then we had to come back, and then the talent had to shave, and I couldn't start until he was clean shaven. So my lesson there is pack everything, bring everything, put everything in your bag. You just never know. You're always better to be over-prepared than under-prepared.
Absolutely. Good story. Excellent. Who's next?
Yeah, I'll go next. Yeah.
Thanks, Mark.
Yeah, the question that the story that I always relate to the first year apprentices when they're being inducted onto the safe use of the threading machine is apart from all the hazards and that sort of thing and the maintenance items. I always relate the story of when I was working on a machine and I had a young apprentice as well that I was watching who was up on a scissor lift, and the tool that I was using on the machine slipped and jammed my hand in between the machine and the tool. And yeah, when I took my glove off, the tip of my finger was still in the glove. So I guess the thing that I relate to them is that, I've been using one of those machines for years, is, don't become complacent with them and always concentrate when you're using one. And look after yourself and work safely.
Excellent. Good one. And again, it's that credibility. Look, the reason I do this is just to reinforce the situation. We talk about storytelling as being a powerful way of training people. And a lot of people are, although we talk about the different learning styles, and we've got the auditory learners, the visual learners, and the kinesthetic learners, a lot of people need to be visual in the way that they do things. So visualizing something and being able to tell them a story that relates and helps them to understand the content you're teaching makes the teaching a lot easier, and it makes it stick better with those people because they remember the story and they can see it. So don't be afraid to use your stories to, one, create that credibility, but most importantly, to be able to give them that visual that relates it to what they actually know. Good work. All right. So in this session, we're going to continue talking about delivering in this sort of medium, using Zoom in our case, and we've related it back to Zoom because when you do your presentations, if you're doing them online, that's the way you're going to have to do them. So, the question is, why do we use Zoom meetings? And I mean, we've talked about the fact that from an RTO's point of view, we've always talked about doing this sort of presentation. However, COVID has pushed us into a situation that for the benefit of our learners like yourself, we need to help them to keep moving forward and be able to conduct their learning and therefore their assessments. So I suppose one of the reasons is that adults learn by solving problems. So we want to look at how we go about doing this in a way, and one of the problems we managed to solve was let's do it via Zoom, because that's a way that we can get over the hump of being able to deal with the students who are more face-to-face and the students who need that little bit of difference as opposed to doing it all online. So by the end of this session, you'll be able to organise and conduct your own remote meetings or webinars using a product like Zoom. And we'll talk about how to complete your Dell and Assess cluster assessments despite the restrictions of COVID-19. So what we're going to look at is how to sign up for a Zoom profile, how to set up a Zoom meeting, and how to host a Zoom meeting. So if you're ready to write any of your questions as we go, please just give me a thumbs up because I'm going to show you a number of videos along the way rather than trying to demonstrate on the screen, which becomes very difficult because it gets that mirror effect happening. So just give us a thumbs up if you've got your keyboard in front of you and ready to pop any questions in the chat box as we go. And I'll answer them at the end of each of the videos. So everybody ready? All right, I'm getting some nods. I'm getting a visual thumbs up. I'm getting virtual thumbs up. All good. All right. So here's our first video, and we're going to talk about how to set up Zoom.
Hello, welcome to this video. This is the how to sign up for Zoom video. My name is Damien from the Mr. Wed Learner Success team. Welcome. All right, so the Zoom website is at zoom.us. That's where you go to sign up for Zoom. Zoom.us. No comms or anything else, just zoom.us. You'll see they've got rotating banners here showing bits and pieces of information. You'll see there's a big sign up. It's free icon here. You can use that graphic, or else you can wait for one to roll around in the banners here, and inevitably one rolls around here every so often, like this one here. But just before I do show you how to sign up, firstly I will show you the plans and pricing just to make sure that you're on the right thing. So as a Mr. Wed student, there's nothing terribly complicated that you need to do with Zoom in terms of duration of groups, etc. You'll probably find that a free plan is enough for you. So a free plan will allow you to have unlimited one-to-one meetings and also group meetings with 3 or more people up to a 40-minute limit. So if you're going to be using Zoom for more than 40 minutes with a group of 3 or more, then you might want to go on to the $20.99 per month plan. Okay, whilst you need it. But otherwise, if you can keep your meetings to less than 40 minutes when there's 3 or more on, the free plan will be perfectly fine for you. Okay, it gives you access to all the good stuff, all the video conferencing features, all the web conferencing features, and also the group collaboration features that we like to use during our meetings, and also has the security inbuilt as well. These plans are great, but not necessary unless you're using Zoom with 3 or more people for more than 40 minutes. Okay, so sign up, it's free. Let's give that a crack. Hit the button. To start with, it asks for a date of birth. Now, why it does this is because if you lose your login credentials, it will come back and ask you this information. What year? 50s, 40s? Let's go 66, because that was the year that decimal currency was introduced in Australia. We'll put in that date of birth. Now we're going to put in a website address. Sorry, an email account address, and I have just done that. I've got that in there now. Then it's just a matter of clicking the sign up button. Okay, now it tells me now that it sent me an email with the details, so that I can confirm it. So I'm just going into my email at the moment and waiting for that email to arrive. Okay, the email is already here. This is good news. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag that across here so you see what it looks like. Okay, it says, welcome to Zoom. To activate your account, please click the button below to verify your email address, or paste this link in the back. Okay, so let's click activate account. All right, here it comes. So we've already got an account halfway set up. It says hi, and it's given me the email address, which was the one that I used, and says now put in some details. So let's do that. First name, let's pop in Damien. Second name, Naud. A password. Okay, let's give it a password. Let's go with must have at least 8 characters, at least 1 letter, at least 1 number, include both upper and lower case. I think that I've done that. Okay, so I'll put it in a second time to confirm it. Let's press continue. All right, cool. That's worked. Do I want to remember that? Let's just go with no on this occasion, but you can save that if you like. Invite your colleagues. Let's have more fun. Invite other people. You know what? Let's not invite more people just a moment. Let's just skip that step. And start your test meeting. It is up and running, ladies and gentlemen, and I now have a new Zoom meetings account. I'm going to click that just for fun, see that it works okay. Now, it says here, Zoom wants to open this application. Yeah, let's open. Let's have a look. Let's see that this is working. and it's now bring up my Zoom meeting. Now, one thing you want to do whenever you go into a Zoom meeting, it's a good idea to just join with the computer audio, but I always recommend that you do test the speaker and microphone on the way in, just to make sure everything's working fine. It does that by first asking, do you hear a ringtone? If I had my ears in at the moment, I'd go, yes, I can hear the sound, or else I change it to another speaker. Let's go yes, and then do I hear the replay? Okay, so speak and pause. So I have to speak, and I've paused, and now I can actually hear the sound coming in through my headset that's beside me on the bench, which tells me that, yes, it is recording properly. Join with computer audio, and I'm now into my personal meeting room. Okay, and when other people arrive, this meeting will start. Okay, so, and here's all my bits and pieces down here. It's all ready to go. It's up and running straight away. So it's that easy to get started with Zoom. Just go to zoom.us and go through that sign up procedure to create your own Zoom account. It's really that easy, nothing terribly complicated. If you have any questions, as always with Mr. Wed, please contact us and ask, and we'd be happy to help you however we can. Thanks for watching the video. See you later.
Thanks, Damien. So now you've all got to see what Damien looks like. Are there any questions anybody has on that particular video? Do any of you have Zoom accounts at this stage? Yeah, a couple of you do. It's great. I just wanted to just touch on the security issues, because when Zoom first started last year, or when people started to use Zoom a lot last year, there was a lot of issues about security, people bombing them, all those sorts of things. You now have to actually, you're asked to generate a password, which is a numeric code. So that when you pass on the meeting details to your friends, they have to put the numeric code in, and nobody can just come in the back door. In the nearly 12 months that we've been using Zoom, we've never had any security issues with it at all. So if you follow their suggested security setups, you shouldn't have any problems with it. When you come to do your presentations or record anything for your assessments, for Mr. Wed, when you come to do Del 2, when you're doing your presentations, you don't have to use your own format or your own account. You'll be invited in as per these sessions, and you'll be linked in through ours. All right. Okay, so let's go on to the next step, which is how to set up your Zoom meetings.
Welcome to this video. My name's Damien. I'm from the Mr. Wed Learner Success Team. How to set up a Zoom meeting. That's the topic for this video. So let's look at how to do that. Now, you may have already watched our previous video about how to set up a Zoom account, how to sign up. We've already done that. Now we need to sign in. So if you're not currently signed in, go to the website, which is zoom.us, and look for a sign in. Okay, a little message here at the top. Let's click that bad boy. Okay, and let's put in our credentials that we need. Okay, just give me a second here. Here we go. And I'm putting in the email address, and I'll put in the password. Okay. And sign in, and I'm going to keep stay signed in, so stay signed in. Okay, and we are in this account. Now, this is a brand new account, this one. I haven't done anything with it since I set up this account. There's a little bit of a warning message here that they're pretty busy at the moment at the Zoom folks, and that's fine, so have a read of that. Click the X. It's a little promo here. Upgrade now to Zoom Pro. Not today, thank you. Why would you do that? Because you want to have meetings for 3 or more people of 40 minutes or more. And this only applies if you're the host, by the way. So if you're attending a meeting that somebody else has set up, that 40-minute limit doesn't apply to you. It's always based upon the host's account. So there's an interesting tip for you. Don't think that you've got to go and get a Zoom Pro account just to attend other people's meetings. Anyone can attend anyone's meetings. It's all about the host. Have they got the level of product that's required for the meeting they want to have? So let's say I'm not going to upgrade today. I'm just going to hit X and make that go away. Here is my name, and here's the personal meeting ID for this account and the signed in email. User type is basic. I can click that and upgrade. Capacity 100 people. Fantastic. You can change your time zone, your format, etc., etc. Change your password down here. All the good things that you might want to do. One thing I do recommend is that you add a photo. So let's upload a photo. Okay, just give me a moment here. I'm just grabbing the relevant file. Sorry to black out the screen on you and make it all nasty blurred looking while I do this. Okay, oh, gorgeous photo, as good as it gets. Okay, so now I've got a photo. So that's kind of interesting because whenever I log into or attend a Zoom meeting now using this email address, my photo will show when the video is not showing. So, yeah, that's a good thing to do. It only takes a moment, as I just showed you. So let's say we're going to host a meeting. Now, before you get excited and start hosting a meeting, you might want to schedule it. But before you schedule it, I'll give you a ninja tip. If you go down here on the left-hand side to settings, you can customize a lot of settings that you might want to change before you set up any meetings. So by default, it goes to this meeting tab. There's also a recording tab and also a telephone tab. Okay. This meeting tab is where most of the good stuff happens, and there's lots of options here. Start meetings with your video on. Oh yeah, show your face, be friendly. Start with participants' videos on. Oh yeah, ask them to be friendly as well. You can set the audio type. You can allow people to join before you even arrive. Why not let the party start without us? And just lots and lots of options here. Mute participants upon entry? No, I don't think so. Let them have their microphones come on straight away. You can set up upcoming meeting reminders for yourself. You can allow private chat between your participants. You can allow everyone to talk to each other. I'm a big fan of that. So, and play a sound when participants join or leave. It gives you like a bit of a ding sound. You might be the only person who wants to have that, so you might want to click that. And we'll save that change in that setting. And you can work your way through all these settings. I'm not going to do this now, okay? And don't forget, you got 3 tabs of those. Okay, so you can have some fun with that and customize the way you want your meetings to look. All right. Now let's schedule a meeting. Lots of ways we can do that. One is to go here, just host a meeting. You can start it right now. Video on, video off, or screen share only, and boom, it will come up straight away. Or you can schedule one. Let's schedule one here. Okay, the topic, my meeting. You can change that to whatever you want. Important catch up. No, not with the Z. Okay, description if you like. Then you can change the time to whatever you like. You can change the duration. Now it's cleverly reminding us here that because we're on the basic free plan, we've only got 40-minute limit if there's going to be 3 or more people. Okay, we can set a longer meeting, but not if there's 3 or more people in there. Time zones, you can make it a recurring meeting so it happens every week. You can set the meeting ID to generate automatically, or we can use your own personal meeting ID. You can require a meeting password. Now, if you're not so conscious about security, if you're not going to be discussing world peace, then you can turn that off. Otherwise, you need to get that meeting password to all the participants because they'll need it when they try to enter. You want the video on when they come in. It's already picked up on and on. That's because I changed the settings as we saw earlier in the video. Audio, allow people to use both if you like. You can even edit the countries where they can dial in from. Enable join before host. Mute participants upon entry. Don't enable the waiting room unless you want people to queue up one at a time. It's a great feature if you're setting appointments and you only want to talk to one person at a time. Otherwise, turn that off. Okay, and you can record the meeting automatically on your local computer. You can do that on your free plan. How good does it get? What I'll do is I'll just set this time, 2 o'clock this afternoon. Sounds fair. Okay, that's all you have to do to set up a meeting. So now set up the meeting and click save. And then I might add it to my calendar, and I recommend you do that. So pick your favorite calendar and add it to your calendar. It'll add it pretty quickly and easily. And then there's something else that's really important here that you need to do, and it's this one here, the join URL. Okay, and you can copy the invitation. Okay, so you can copy an invitation, or you can just grab that, Control-C it, start an email, send that to people that you want to attend the meeting. Okay, and by sending them that, they can come in and join at that time. They don't need to register as such. If they've got that join URL, it's the same for everyone who's going into the meeting. But when you join, it will recognize you as the host because of the email address that's attached for you. It's that simple and that easy to set up a meeting. Okay, if you like the way you've set up the meeting, you can save it as a template for future use. You can edit the meeting and change the time, or click the magic Start This Meeting button, and that will start the meeting. There's one at the top here too.
Okay. Any other questions? Stephen's already asked the question about the password in the chat box. But are there any other questions? Now, the reason that we've shown you to how to set this all up is that if you are doing any of your assessments on online via Zoom, for example, your Dell 2 presentations, my suggestion is to set yourself up, if you don't already have one, with a private account. And if you can access a second device, so for example, set yourself up with your private account on your computer. If you have a second email address, you can then open up the software on your phone. So, you know, if you don't have a second email, go and set yourself up with a Hotmail and then delete it later. But you can actually set up the meeting and record it and have it going on your mobile phone while you're doing it on your computer, and then watch the recording later so that you can practice. By doing it that way, you can also practice with all the different functions that you can use, like the whiteboard and the breakout rooms and things like that we talked about. And also you can set up polls through the website that you've just been looking at. All right. Okay, let's move on to our next one of how to actually host the meeting.
Welcome to this video. This video is about how to host a Zoom meeting. We're actually going to get inside the software. Now, the way to get a The way to get a meeting going is to go into our Zoom profile. And you'll recall this morning that we set up a meeting. And we had this one here, and all I need to do to get started is click start. But I've actually hit the start button already. If you want to change anything, you can click here, go into the settings, and then just click the start or join now button. So I'm hearing a couple of dings here, and that gives me the tip that people have just joined our meeting while I've been chatting away. Hello to Diane. How are you, Di? And hello to Rachel. How are you? Okay, I can hear both you guys and you guys can hear me, and that's a good sign. This is typically what we see in a meeting. All the videos and all the sound pops up all at once. And I appreciate you, Di and Rachel, joining us. We're just going to showcase a couple of the tips for the folks who are watching this video that I'm recording about how to actually host a Zoom meeting. You ready to roll with this?
Absolutely.
Awesome. So let's start with something fun, shall we? And that's this New York City background I've got behind me. Because people always say, how do you do that, Damien? Well, it's down on the bottom of my panel, I've got this stop video button. Now, I don't want to click that because that'll just stop the video. But what I can do is there's a little panel next to it and it allows me to choose a virtual background. So for one moment here, I'm New York, and then all of a sudden, I'm hiding in amongst the trees. Okay. Or we can just jettison right across the US and be in San Francisco. It's that simple. You'll also see that there's a bunch of other options that pop up here as well. So much we can customize within a meeting, including editing our profile on the fly. Okay, so lots we can do there. You can also bring up that menu from within near the mute button. You click near there, you've got audio settings, brings up the same stuff, and you can check your audio settings and make changes there to change your headset, to change your microphone, to change your speakers. And if something goes wrong in a meeting with that, that's obviously the place to go and see that your audio settings are still working. All right, so I can see that there's 3 of us here. There's a Manage Participants button down the bottom, and there they all are. And by hovering over their names, I can do all sorts of things. Like I can rename them if you want to have a bit of fun for somebody. And I could change my name. And you should now be able to see that I've just renamed myself, ladies. Can you see that? Maybe I should have something, a bit of a look like this, or change the avatar or something. I can also change Diane's name. I can make her the host. I can put her on hold. I can spotlight her in the video, stop the video, all sorts of options. I can remove you, Di, if you misbehave, if you're naughty. I can send you to the naughty room. So let's not do that. Don't wave like you want me to do it, Rachel, okay? I can still see you. I can also mute Diane's her audio feed. So if Diane's saying way too much, Diane, do you want to tell us about what you think about this video so far? Yeah, so that works really well, folks. So you can mute somebody and unmute them and bring them back. Diane, you are back with us, I presume?
Yes, I am. Thank you for that.
Good to hear. Rachel, I'm going to try to be nice to you. I'm not going to try and play any mean tricks on you at this stage. Now, if you've got 2 monitors, you can actually move this participant panel wherever you want, and I'm going to zip it straight onto my other monitor. So I can go like this and check who's in the room at any time. I can do the same thing with chat by opening up the chat. Everyone can type something in the chat. So ladies, if you want to just type something in the chat, I'll just do the same. And this is a great way to create interactivity within the webinar. Now, I didn't actually mean to say ho there. I meant to actually write hi there. So that's a bit of a worry to start with. Not casting any aspersions here. Rachel's written hi, Mickey and Dee. And Diane, are we meant to see your controls? No, Di, you can't see my controls. Only the people watching the video at home can. And I'm now sliding that chat away as well. So much more to do. I can pause and stop the recording at any stage. We can also create reactions. So ladies, if you look down on your panel down the bottom, look for reactions, and you should find that you can give a thumbs up or do some clapping or something like that. There, thumbs up from everybody. Brilliant. We can also invite other people who aren't here. So by clicking that, I can invite other Mr. Wed folks who are already in my contacts, or pick people who are in my email as well and copy the invitation and send it to them. Very, very easy to get more people here if we just feel as though we need more people. I can also end the meeting over on the right-hand side, which does what it would suggest. Up in the top right-hand corner, we can change the view. Instead of being speaker view, we can change to this, this makes it speaker view, where the person who's talking last, apart from me, pops up on the screen. So if Rachel talks now,
Hello.
we see Rachel. And if Diane talks now,
Did that work or not work?
yes, it did, but it took a moment. That happens sometimes. And then I'm talking, and I don't probably want to see a big screen vision of myself too often. But the other girls are probably seeing Mickey Mouse right now. Is that right, ladies?
Yep, we can see you.
There you go. That's fantastic. What else would I like to show you? What else do we need? I better show you how to share our screen. So my mouse is behaving badly at the moment. Where is it? Okay, so let's share the screen. Now, when I share the screen, I see all sorts of options of things that I've already got open. And one of them might be this PowerPoint that I've got opened on the other window. So here we go. Ladies, can you see my PowerPoint now? Fantastic. Now, the interesting thing is this is actually on my other window. Okay, so the ladies are seeing this PowerPoint, but I'm not seeing it on my main screen because it's actually on the other screen. And what I can do is I can move through here and see my PowerPoint. Ladies, can you see that those changes being made at the moment on the PowerPoint? No, you can't. That's okay. That's fine because it's... Can you see those changes?
No.
No, that's okay. That's because it's in slideshow mode separately. Okay, so I can make changes to the PowerPoints, and I can look at up PowerPoint here, and the girls are looking at the live screen show here. So lots and lots of fun to do. In fact, by doing that slide share, my little webinar control panel actually zipped across to the other monitor as well. So, you know, get in there, have a bit of a play, especially if you've got two monitors. It can complicate things, but can make things way easier for you as well. Ladies, did you have any questions about anything you'd like me to showcase that you think might be helpful for the folks at home?
You've stumped me on that one, but I like that you can share the screen and have like the actual PowerPoint or have your notes. And if you've got two monitors, that's cool.
It is very, very cool because what I can then do is I can stop my video so no one sees my video, but they see my little photo instead. And that photo is what I save to the profile, which is something I've done in one of the earlier videos. So it goes back to my profile at Zoom, pulls that photo and shows my smiling face. But while this is going on, who knows what I'm doing? I could be sitting here reading off a script and reading nicely off the script and talking it through, and you think, how articulate is this guy? And then all of a sudden I do this and say, does that make sense to everyone? Is everyone cool with that? Is that really good? Would you like to hear more? And then away I go again, rabbiting on. So lots of options there. And of course, every once in a while, just mute your video, which is a clever thing to do if you need to do something like this. Just mute your audio. People don't hear you coughing and carrying on like a lunatic. All right, ladies, you have been great guinea pigs during this video. I really appreciate you jumping on board to help us. That's how you host a video in, how you host a meeting in Zoom. It is a lot of fun. When you've had enough, just click the end meeting and it ends it for everyone. And ladies, I just want to say thank you. You guys have been amazing. So thanks for being here.
Our pleasure.
Good. No worries. Everyone go have some fun with Zoom.
Okay, so some tips there on how to use Zoom basic controls. Yeah, any questions you have about what we've just watched Damien doing with the other two ladies? All pretty straightforward. One tip I will give you is that when you are sharing the screen, you will get, as Damien said, a number of options there. If you're doing PowerPoints, set up your PowerPoints before you start, put it into display mode, in other words, presentation mode. And when you go to share your screen, you'll find that it has, if you've got two screens, it will show you the different screens that you've got, but it will also give you an option as a third option that says share PowerPoint presentation. If you do that, it will show the PowerPoint exactly the way you're seeing it from my screen. However, on my second screen, I have the PowerPoint that you're seeing, but over the top of it, I also have the participants window, the chat box window, and a couple of other things open, which you can't see. So if you look for that one that says share presentation rather than share screen, you don't get any, you can do anything you like on that other screen without your learners actually seeing it. Okay. The other thing that I want you to be aware of is that if you are doing, I suppose I should ask the question, just give me a thumbs up if you are planning to do your presentations via the Zoom method, or are you going to do them yourself, video them and send them in, or are you going to actually wait until we have a classroom version available. So who is planning to use this method to do their presentations? Del 2, in other words.
Yeah, I'm booked into Del 2 online session in March. So
Okay, great.
That'll be doing it through Zoom like this.
Yep. Fantastic, Steve. Anybody else doing the Zoom version, or you haven't decided as yet?
I plan to do all mine in front of like part of training groups with my employer and stuff.
Yeah, so you've got a supervising observer basically to do it for you. That's fine. Okay, if you are planning to do it with us at Mr. Wed through this media, the only thing I would ask is if you are considering using polls, and you've seen how they can be used, we have to actually set them up from our end prior to your presentations. So if you could email what you want in your poll a couple of days earlier to submit at mrwed.edu.au, and we will have them all set up for you prior to your presentation. All right. So if you decide to do Del 2 online and you want to use the poll facility, we have to set them up. So just send what you want in your poll, which will be your question and your multiple choice answers. Just in an email, send them through to submit at mrwed.edu.au, and either Damien or myself will pick them up and set them up for you prior to your session. If you want to try using breakout rooms or any of the whiteboard or any of that functionality, if you can also let us know a couple of days ahead so that we can make sure that everything is set up for you and ask you any questions prior to you attending and trying to do it on the day. We're pretty closed with time because of the number of people we have to have in your audience. So we have to have that number of people ready to do their presentations as well. All right. Any other questions that have come up?
Will we need to send you the entire presentation or just the extra bits that we need added into the meeting?
As part of your assessments, Stephen, you will need to actually upload your session plans and a copy of your resources into Mr. Wed Online prior to actually doing the sessions anyway. Okay.
Yep.
So 2 different things, but yes, the answer is yes, but yeah. Okay. All right. So if there's no other questions at this stage, what I'd like you to do is just tell me what features in Zoom that you're looking forward to trying. If there are any. Okay. So Sarah says she wants to try out the whiteboard. Fantastic. Set yourself up with an account, Sarah. Get all your friends online at one day and just have a play with it. That's the best way to actually try these things. Stephen says he wants to use polls. Great. Any others from anybody else?
I've got 2 screens, so I'm just excited to see it from the other side.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's one of those things that you probably want to just start a meeting for yourself. You don't have to have somebody else, and just play with where you're going to drag and drop things.
Yeah.
You know, generally we have, from our own point of view, we'll have the main screen in front of us, but then the extras will all be on our second screen so that we can see what's happening. And if you do have the availability to have 2 screens, it does make it so much easier. So even if you're doing your presentations and you have to get a HDMI cable and attach it to the TV in your lounge room, it does work. I actually have, my second screen is actually a 22-inch TV mounted on my wall above my desk. So I don't go out and buy expensive second monitors that cost you $400 or $500. My TV cost me $118 at JB Hi-Fi. So, and I can watch the cricket in between sessions. So,
Got it all sorted.
oh, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So where we go to from here, your to-do list between now and our next session, which is in just over a half an hour, is to complete any of the outstanding stuff, or if you've already done all that, just have a rest for a while, grab yourself a drink and all the rest of it, and get ready for our finale. What we will be looking at in our last session, and you've probably noticed it is only a 30-minute session, it's just to wrap up the 2 days and tell you what assessments you need to do, and in what order. So there are some you need to do before you do your presentations and those sorts of things. So we'll just go through that briefly and give you an overview of the assessments that you need to do. So we will be back at 2:30 Queensland time, 3:30 New South Wales and Victoria. So you've got about 40 odd minutes to be able to stretch, have a drink, do whatever you want to do, have a bit of a break, answer that email from your boss that's been sitting there for a couple of hours, whatever you need to do. And don't forget, if you want to investigate setting up your own account, if you haven't already, and you can have as many accounts as you have email addresses. So if you're like me and got 4 different email addresses, you can have 4 different accounts and use them for different things. But it is zoom.us, as simple as that. And as you've seen in the videos I've shown you, it is very, very easy to set up an account and have a bit of a play. One last thing, and that is, do you have any other questions before we disappear for 40 minutes and come back for our wrap up? I must be doing a sensational job because none of you are asking questions. All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for your attention. I hope you've got a bit more of an insight into whether you use Zoom or WebEx or Teams or whatever else. The functionality of all of them is similar. It's just finding out where all those bits and pieces are. And we tend to find that Zoom is just the easiest to use. But even for, just recording things like when you come to do some of your assessments in the assessment cluster, if we're still in this COVID environment that we are, which I don't see going away terribly quickly, and you want to video any of those assessments that you're doing, you can set up a Zoom call, Zoom meeting, and just let it run, and the camera will record whatever you put in front of it. So it makes it very easy to do. All right. Thanks, guys. I'll see you at in about 40 minutes.
Thanks, Phil.
Thank you. Thanks.
See you later.